Dame Caroline Dining.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd like to support the government's commitment to levelling up, to boosting jobs, to boosting our high streets, to boosting economic opportunity, to enhancing our standard of living. Of course, these are all priorities that are shared by people in Gosport. I'm not convinced that this levelling up paper goes far enough. The Minister knows this, and I'd like to go through a few areas to explain why. There are three things in particular, and they're based around my Gosport constituency. It's a peninsula. It's about 25 kilometres square. It's not very big, but it's over 80% built on. And the rest that isn't built on is largely either MOD land, it's got a flood risk, or it's part of a conservation area. So there is simply nowhere to build the wildly unrealistic 2014 housing target numbers without concreting over the last remaining green spaces, without ruining air quality, which is already some of the lowest in the country, and without decimating the vital strategic gap. To add insult to injury, Madam Deputy Speaker, more recent housing numbers, which the government have chosen to ignore, significantly reduce the projected requirement. So we're being asked to build more houses than we actually need. In my constituency, we need levelling up to prioritise job growth and productivity. We have one of the lowest job densities in the country and pockets of significant deprivation. So I'd urge the Minister to look at how targets can be made much more locally and applied much more sympathetically in this bill. A related issue which he knows about is that of nitrates, which across the Solent region has caused numerous development of brownfield sites to be delayed and housing targets to be missed. Now, I understand that there's a DEFRA-funded nitrates trading platform which is being piloted in some of our local authorities in the Solent region with the potential to be rolled out across the UK. This is a massive issue. It puts swathes of farmland out of use today at a time when our food security is of vital importance. In order to address the impact of chemicals that were actually put on our farmland over 30 years ago, it's a major obstacle to planning, and I wonder if the Minister can work with colleagues in DEFRA to see if there's some way we can address this and move forward to find a less ridiculous solution. Finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to talk about regenerating our high streets. Absolutely key to levelling up. They need to be reimagined, not just places where we shop, but places where we live, where we eat, where we socialise, where we work. And there's a local company in the Gosport and Portsmouth area, ProPods, who've been instrumental in this work, in reimagining the high street. In Gosport High Street, they're bringing unused shops and the buildings above them back into use. The shops come back into use as independent traders, the upper levels into high standard homes of multiple occupancy, executive HMOs, if you like. However, they're really worried about the Valuation Office Agency's interpretation of Local Government Finance Act 1992, which means that these executive HMOs up and down the country will now be considered as separate dwellings, despite the fact that they share all the common facilities. It's causing significant hardship to tenants who are seeing increases to bills of around £500 a month, because then they're liable for the council tax rather than the landlord. And some instances they've been given backdated bills of around £3,000. And these facilities, if they're considered as separate properties after 4 years, can lawfully be used as separate dwellings in planning law, creating a surge of micro-flats that don't meet current housing standards. So please, can the Minister look at what can be done in this bill to ensure that HMOs are classed as one property, to not only level up how council tax is charged, to not stifle the ideas which are about reinvigorating our high streets, and to ensure future housing standards.